is my dollar store sketchbook. All the pages stayed in, and they're all this lovely sort of cream color. And that's what I like about it. It's a nice packable size. It's $4, so I don't have to worry about wasting it. And normally I would decorate the cover, but I really, really liked this cover. And I put all of my cat meme stickers on the inside. This one's my favorite, Awake, but at what cost? And this sketchbook is not going to be the prettiest one because it's my functional sketchbook. I started it in October 2024 with Peachtober. So every day you would draw something according to the theme for the day, and you can kind of see that I quit 2/3 of the way through. So the beginning will have a little bit of effort into it. This is like Daisy, and this was Sparkle. So I did like a shiny fish with metallic paint there. And I usually just do quick warm-ups for Peachtober because I don't want to spend the time. In fact, I think the reason why I did Peachtober is to start a warm-up to get me in the mood to switch tasks into art, which was really useful. Paw, a bunch of sketches of my cat, and here's Sky. Sketchbooks tend to look a little bit better, in my opinion, when it goes across the gutter, which is what this is. Putting my cat's feet across the gutter into the sky, because when I was a child, this is kind of what I would do. I would be kind of a loner, and I would just stick my feet up into the sky and pretend that I'm upside down for some reason. Like the earth is flipped. Here's Fawn, I think, and there's, it says sketch. I don't know. Here's Bud. I did some rosebuds. And this turned out kind of like a boring idea, so I like decorated it with some collage and added more of these roses to go across like this. So it kind of looks like one big piece. This is my favorite one. Apricot on this side and Pixel on this side. So again, I did it across the whole page and then added the pixel detail on the right. In fact, I liked this page so much that I kind of replicated it in a recent like snake painting. Here's Wheel and Earth, combining the two ideas together, and you can kind of tell that I'm getting really tired of the Peachtober daily drawing thing because it starts to become really nonsensical. Oh, and here's Slow, and here's Fast. And there's Crocodile and Rest? I don't know how this fits Rest. Here's Greenhouse, which was just a green restaurant we ate in around this time. And all the things that we ordered. Interspersed with a random drawing of my cat. And here's Party, which I guess is like disco ball lights maybe? And Radish. And I think that is it for Peachtober. Thank goodness. Regular sketchbook stuff, I've started using it as almost like a visual journal. I like to try to add text whenever I can, not just to remember why I drew something, but also I find that adding text makes you kind of enjoy or linger in a sketchbook a little bit longer. So here are just some views from memory on the way to a friend's house on the bus. I used to do pet commissions a lot. I think I did like a dog in leaves or something. And this was a cool exercise maybe you'd want to do. It's called 3 Anxious Thoughts. And I picked it up from a podcast. It was technically a Christian podcast that I was sort of forced to watch. But she was saying if you have a really anxious thought, putting yourself in the position of your best friend, say, well, what would your friend or God want you to think instead? And so mine was guilt, worrying that people didn't really want my stuff that badly and felt pressured, or they have regrets later. So I have like a lot of anxieties about stuff like that. Turning it around, where I drew pictures of people really enjoying my things in the form of birds taking flowers from my arms. Or this one where this bird is harvesting coins from an olive branch, and he's allowed to harvest the fruit of his labor, kind of a thing. Which that painting won first place, might add. Little tiny sculpture by Robert Riley. They kind of remind me of Star Fox. They're just really cute. I love those. Just practicing some stuff. Here's me trying to do a gouache landscape and absolutely hating it. And so I ended up drawing this gigantic pink X across it, being like, I'm done with this. I hate this. And honestly, the X kind of did everything. I really liked it after I did the X. First Aurora Borealis experience. Just another drawing for a dog commission. And when I was working 40 hours a week at a job that I hated, all I would think about when I was there was like, man, I wish I could be just outside watching a bug. Cool oil pastels too. Here's a frog in his little hut. And this is my little alter ego. He kind of looks like Bongo Cat. It's just this white cat. Sari is running a bath and there's like salmon filling the tub. This was practice for like a frog commission. There's like another frog commission idea, which I ended up using with a crested gecko instead. Here's me trying to get his face right. Comic day, where you're supposed to do like an autobiographical comic every hourly comic day. But at night, I just started playing Phasmophobia with my friends, and that's kind of all that I did. And it's like, oh, well. We had a family emergency, and my spouse had to fly out suddenly for a week. And I remember trying to draw pictures for a city zine of the city that I live in, and thinking, everything I'm doing sucks. I was depressed. I was lost. Yeah, I felt like everything I was drawing was just not turning out right. And so I reduced it to just drawing random boxes of ideas. The worst thing that I can do is have an idea and then not feel like I'm ready to do it and then forget about it later when I am ready. I definitely wanted to recreate the meme because I think it really encapsulates the reputation of my city. Oh yeah, in the middle of the struggle, John suggested that I drew a white rabbit just because they were seeing a lot of white rabbits around while he was away. And so I did this kind of lonely celestial thing. Nothing was really reaching me or turning out right, which is weird because I'm looking at this now and it's fine. I don't really know what my problem was. And, you know, back of the pages, just a sketchbook talk, I will sometimes print out things that I give away to Patreon or whatever that I don't have anymore. I just print them and paste them in here, so I still technically have them. And it takes up some space in my sketchbook that I don't actually feel like drawing on. Oh, and this is the image that I ended up doing, where the rabbit is running and leading the way with a lamp, with a bunch of magpies following behind. Man, that felt really good to just kind of like get something out when you're feeling kind of like emotionally blocked like that. Here's some doodles during some traveling. More printouts of sketches that I did for the mini series that I do every year. I'll go to a website, it's called MapCrunch, and it gives you a random Google Street View. So if you really want to draw something like a landscape or something, you can click on it about a bajillion times until you find something that you actually want to draw. Something like that. There's like a day at the airport, just hanging out there. Some sketches for paintings that I did. This is my very first Plein April drawing. And Plein April is another drawing challenge where you draw every day, but you have to leave the house, which is significantly harder to do. So I literally went outside the back door, pretty much, and drew the first thing I saw, which was a daisy. And I was like, okay, if it's this easy, maybe I can do Plein April. And I think that 10 minutes is just the line drawing. I don't think I did this in the moment. And then sometimes I will pick up a tarot card to give me the theme. For example, Six of Swords, rest after a difficult trial, recovery, return to normalcy, despondent, low spirits. I don't think I did anything with this, but I would come up with like little tiny thumbnails for like, what could you do related to that theme? Maybe someday. Here's more Plein April stuff. Look how great it was. I did this little bird because it was on a fence for 5 seconds. And that was it. Here's the chickadee making the keys. It was this thing that he did. I did this painting. So I also did like a sculptural project with it, which was really what I truly wanted to do. But I made them anyway, and they're like my favorite thing ever. I thought about doing like a watercolor do-it-yourself art kit with this picture, but it didn't go well and I forgot about it. Maybe someday. Here's another tarot card thing that I did super quickly. I got Judgment, and the theme of this one was new start, beginning, determination, change, intention. And I ended up doing a deer at sunrise who is renewed himself to be young but still has the antlers So it's kind of like wherever you go, there you are. Like you can't abandon your life experiences and become somebody new. Because this is the extent of my planning. Drawing of the library. I'm having a day where I'm kind of like despondent for no reason, and my husband decides to like set up a little Easter egg hunt in the house. So I wanted to record that. We're just sitting at the pond, and I just drew the pond and this cool nest that a bird made. Really big bee. A view from a window. And there were some days where I just couldn't. I stood on a fence and drew with a ballpoint pen for like 5 seconds. I'm like, okay, that's my plan April. Here's a pond. And this was actually a really rare day at the pond where you could see these orange goldfish that someone probably threw in there. But there were schools of them just under the surface. So I could see just this little UFO of orange floating around in the pond. It was super weird. Another sketch for plein air ball. Also like it. And then I started just painting kind of from my balcony. And that's when you know it's game over. When you don't even leave the house. On my birthday, I went to the Vancouver Seawall. And it was a wonderful day. And I saw this seal, harbor seal, floating on his back in a school of fish. And he was just dipping his head under just to look at them. Like he was in awe. Just as me and a bunch of tourists were also staring at the seal in awe, and it was just kind of funny to think like we are the same. Love this like sick yellow highlighter. A net of ghosts. Cat was stuck in a tree. Instead of like throwing out an old sketch, I'll just cut it out and paste it in. I really like these little sketches of the screws that I did. There's some ideas that I was trying to think of for Christmas cards. Here's on the way to a engagement party. I always have to draw the cormorants when I see them. And so I have these 2 cormorants sort of coming together to like grow a seed. It's like a union of 2 people, kind of like a picture. It's a little paper boat. A little sticker that I made. My Saturday walks. On this day, I just collected all of the things that I saw that day that were visually interesting. So I have like dragonflies, I have the planes. This little bird was just like a cartoon on apparel. I thought it was very cute. This was last year's Peachtober. This year I decided I was going to make a zine. I wanted to practice story writing. Idea sketches, so they're not that great. This whole next section is not going to be that interesting. But I did a story of like the bird who like found an acorn and raised it like as if it was an egg, and it grew a tree, and it was just like this interesting relationship between a bird and his tree based on the words of the day. Was sort of directing where the story was gonna go. So it ends kind of like sad, but a little bit hopeful. And not everything I kept, obviously. But there is another video about that in my channel if you wanted to see how that story ended up. They're just messy drawings. Did 1 day of funguary, and that was it. That was a daily challenge where every day was a type of fungus. I love fungi. Didn't really care for this. Maybe I was just too busy. Here's some bird skeletons. Whenever I drew a bird, I could never figure out where to angle the legs. And I found out it's because I did not understand bird legs. There's 3 bones. It's so weird. And they just have it tucked up against their bodies, I guess. Like every time I would draw a bird, the body would look fine, but the feet would ruin it. So I really needed to draw the skeleton. And here is some ink pen drawings from the day we were on Vancouver Island. I love the way that they turned out, the line weight and everything. Some crow skeleton. Some more crows. I don't know if this was before or after I did the leg study. This is looking kind of weird, so maybe it was before. I don't know. Here's some Cezanne studies that I did with, here's Hemi gouache versus open acrylics, which is more closer to oil. I love them both. I love them both. I do try to record things in my life that make me smile, make me laugh, and so here I am at my friend's house trying to connect to her Wi-Fi. But she's got all of this technology in her house where you can kind of connect to your oven, you can connect to your washing machine. It's really funny to me. And she's also got this, I got the chicken Wi-Fi. It's this funny like thermometer that you stick in your meat and put the whole thing in the oven. And then when your food is cooked, it sends an alert to your phone that tells you when the chicken is ready. I had to keep that. Oh, and here's some little like guinea pigs for like a guinea pig commission. And I also did like a patio commission. It seems like I do a lot of commissions, but I don't really. This was like over 2 years. Recording some fungi that we saw. And like the backs of pages are really good for like doing notes or like planning out a get well card. Trying to think of things to write. Oh, and the one thing that I was doing in Patreon was trying to study up art history because I kind of got sick of not knowing art history. I missed my opportunity to take the classes. I was following this mini series called Shock of the New, which is like an art history kind of broadcast. It's on YouTube. I let it direct where I was going to go, and so there's Impressionism, Fauvism. So I was like kind of learning about all these different things, but on a surface level. But it was somewhere to kind of start. Here's kind of like an ugly page. I was trying to think of like, oh, what can I do with my regalia? It was never quite finished, so I was thinking of designs that I could do on it. This is for like dancing. It's a shawl for dancing. And yeah, just use the empty space to do plans and stuff. Ugly page. This is like a commission that I'm working on right now, or a version of it, which I cannot I cannot decide upon. And this was like a bajillion dragons because I wanted to paint a dragon for someone, but I don't know how to paint dragons or draw dragons. So here's 8 of them. Some like love locks. Here I am practicing tree branches. I'm not very good at those. Another dog commission. We passed a place called Canary Dental, and so this is what I imagined happened in there. Some more art history notes. Practicing like the Picasso thing. Dadaism. I also made public a Patreon video about Hokusai. I picked a random book off of the shelf in the library, and it was this, and I thought his printmaking techniques were very interesting, so I just was like, how can I make watercolor painting look like a wood print? Loved how that turned out. And this is for the other commission where I really wanted to draw dilapidated buildings. I love taking photos of them, looking at them. It's kind of spooky. Pictures from photo references that I found just to kind of get used to the shape of them falling over. Another thing I like to do is to take like video stills and draw them. And this was like figure skating. Ballet is good too. Any kind of dance. I really like drawing those. More notes. It's me trying this, what is this? The surrealist object. A little bit. Automatic writing. Here's taking a rubbing of a leaf and turning it into like a forest of trees. Here's more dragons. Pictures on Pinterest of other people, how they draw dragons. And what I really liked about them is the snaky structures. I like those. The whole page turned out kind of boring, and so I painted the whole entire background red. I'm getting closer to something. With the dragons, I cannot. I just cannot. I'm trying to do a dilapidated house that is being digested by fungi. Underneath, it's like a soreness. And above, there's a bunch of flowers blooming out. So the whole idea is kind of like processing feelings or trauma or whatever and trusting that something really nice will come out of it. Like it will be digested and bloomed into something useful. And there's like this creepy little owl kind of watching it, kind of making like this little feeling of distrust. Like, is this really worth it? Is this really what's going to happen? And this is for the Piccolo Gallery. This woman started a nonprofit project where she's paying a bunch of lesser known local artists to do a commission. And at the end of the year in October, they're all going to be auctioned off. And the money from that will be reinvested into the program so that she can continue creating a world where people can make art. So it's an interesting program, and I really hope that she does well. And so please help follow along as I try to troubleshoot this picture, because I'm very nervous about it. Here's a little sneak peek. I'm drawing this little house. Might not keep it. Might start over. We'll see. I have time. Oh, here's that snake painting. Here's another version of the dragon. I cannot do this dragon. Oh my gosh. There's some guinea pigs. And here is a plan that I did for a Patreon video, how to make a nighttime glowing scene. And this whole page, again, was really boring. So I painted all this grass and flowers in the background to connect the two pages. So now it looks like a cool page. Just a little trick. The biggest bee I've ever seen. Wanted to draw that. My sister told me a cute little story. I wanted to draw that. And these are just like more little like fun journal-y drawings of like the friendship pins, me at my day job trying to lift a whole cake without ruining it, and it was I had to light as a feather, stiff as a board because of that popular The Craft movie from our youth. We used to do stuff like that because of that stupid movie. Anyway, so here's me cleaning out the fridge. I was trying to like practice like playing with little ideas from life, trying to get inspiration from things that aren't actually that inspiring. Some random sketches. Sometimes I will pull apart my old sketchbooks and will glue stuff that I want to keep in. Another iteration of this. I kind of like this one. I cannot decide whether to do a 3/4 view or a head-on view. It's making me crazy. Oh, this was a request. Candy colored frogs. They're gardening. Here's a little comic strip of a day. I was collecting driftwood, and sometimes that kind of stuff is illegal, so I was just being anxious about it, and someone had stopped me and been like, "Excuse me, what is in your bag?" And I was like, "I'm busted." But it was just these women looking for eagle feathers, but it was a funny interaction, and so I wanted to record it because I would have just completely forgotten about anything cute or funny. Like the woes of sitting at a craft fair with your art, you know? Just my cat screaming for food. This was also from Hourly Comic Day, getting a song stuck on my head. Yet another iteration. This is me trying to work with the aspect ratio of the frame that I bought. Oh my god. And of course the back I always use for scrap papers, writing notes, stuff like that, planning, blah blah blah. Anyway, so that's my sketchbook. That's it, that's all. It's a good one. It's not the prettiest one, but it's full of things, and I hope you get a little inspiration for what to do with yours. Thanks for watching, bye!